All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what a last major move is, because that is the concept that is completely lost on most people, this idea of a last major move. Now, think about what last major move actually means. Last means most recent. Major means significant. And move means rally or sell-off. That's exactly what you're looking for. Okay? So when you are looking for a last major move, is there more than one? Well, it depends on what your idea of major is, or last. Okay? I will say that I will not pull a Fibonacci on a move that's less than 3 candles. I don't like to pull short Fibonaccis. Okay? If the Fibonacci has a lot of retracements or corrections within it, I don't like using it, which is to say that sometimes you will have a time frame that does not have a great last major move on it. Okay, like look at this 4-hour chart of the Euro-US dollar. There's not a really great last major move. I can find a lot of little moves here, a lot of rallies and sell-offs, and certainly a lot of them were recent. But as far as a major move, not really. Not really. I probably would not pull a Fibonacci on this chart right here. What about the 1 hour? Okay, I could pull a Fibo here. I think I could. And by the way, when you're looking for last major moves, you want to make sure you're in the market memory. Otherwise, you don't know what the most last major move is that's pertinent. Okay? For example, I could pull a last major move, and let's go ahead and label some of these here. That's the easiest way, I think, to do it. I could have a move from this point right here A down to B. I could do that. Okay, that's one last major move, A to B. This area B to what we could call C up here, that's another last major move. And you can see I'm just going back within the market memory looking at different levels, different highs and lows. Okay, A, B, I can do B to C. Even though there was a higher high, I would not do this move here because there was a lower low. Why is that? Well, it's not really a major move in terms of establishing it might have established a new high, okay, but this high would be accounted for with the, let me show you here real quick, rather than talking you through it. Let's go ahead and put it in, let's put it in Fibonacci level between A and B. This high would be accounted for with the extension levels, okay, because the last major move was a sell-off. The projected levels will be resistance as prices try to climb back up to where they started from, which was A. Okay? So this higher high here would not mean that I get a move from, say, we could call this D to E. Okay? I'm not looking for a move from D to E because this high would be accounted for by the extensions of the move from A to B. Have I lost anybody? And again, this might be one of those things you're going to have to think about over and over and over again before it really clicks. But once it clicks, trust me, it's worthwhile taking the effort to try. So D to E, I'm going to go ahead and label D and E. Even though we're not using them, these are not moves that I think are going to be part of a Fibonacci equation. Okay, what about recent? Now, major would be the A to B. Okay? Now, B to C is not valid because we made D. Because take a look. Let's draw another Fibonacci here. When B to C was first made, I certainly could have used B to C for a little while. Okay? For a little while, I could have used B to C. Because at that point, B to C probably was the last major move. It was the last major rally. So as prices are retracing their way back to try to get to B, these would all be support levels that are projected by the Fibonacci series. But if B to C is the last major move and it is a rally, if prices take out the high, boom, right there, this is no longer valid. And you can see we had some support, some perfect support. Wow, that's really good support at 38.2. Let me show you here. Let me widen this view up here. Some really nice support at 38.2 right there. Nailed it. That candle's low was 35.72 and the Fibonacci's at 35.70. Okay, so once we get to this level of this low here at 38.2, there's support, but once we took out C as the high, this is no longer a valid move. I'm going to look for another last major move. I could have done D to E at one point until prices went below E. Okay, so realize that along this, just within this market memory, I could have had a lot of significant moves that could have been Fibonacci levels for a certain amount of time. So looking ahead now, what could I use as a Fibonacci level? What would be a valid level? Well, this isn't very pretty, but I guess you could. Let me expand a little bit. I guess I could do this move right here, but wait a minute. It's not pretty, but is it at least 3 candles? Yes. I could do this move here, and we could call that move. We'll go ahead and call it F and G. All right. Could I use F to G? Sure. You could go ahead and do F to G, and the last major move to the upside, so it's a rally. Any kind of rally is going to present my downside support. And you can see right now we're sitting around the 50%. Okay? So if you have a last major move that is a rally, when you draw your Fibonacci, you go from the low to the high. You go in the direction of that move. So if my last major move was a rally, F to G, draw it in the direction of the last major move, and what you're looking to get are the support levels as prices retrace their steps. Yes? Okay? If the last major move was a sell-off, like D to E, again, draw in the direction of the move. This is a sell-off. Okay? And then the projections will be resistance, as again, prices try to retrace upward their move. Now, sometimes you might get Fibonacci, the last major move, in either direction. You might have a valid sell-off, and you might have a valid rally. What do you do in those situations? Well, you can ask yourself, what am I in need of more? Do I need to see projected resistance levels, or do I need to see projected support levels? That's when you do have those instances where there is a last major move that's a sell-off and a rally, that both could be valid, and that will happen sometimes, you ask yourself, what am I in need of? Do I need support? Because if you need support, you'll take the rally. Do I need resistance? Then you'll take the sell-off. Okay, because that's what they'll project. So it's not terribly difficult, but it's definitely something that I think that the traders should practice. If you do what I just did right here, and by the way, so what I think the best thing to do here, in terms of highs and lows, in terms of recognizing those sell-offs and those rallies, do what I did here. Go ahead and take the text tool, okay, and label A, B, C, D, and pull the Fibonacci's from each. Because the best way of getting good at this, okay, is definitely to go ahead and get in the habit of understanding how to project those resistance levels after a sell-off, and how to project those support levels after a rally. Go ahead and label the chart just like I did here. And I'll actually do this for myself. And I'm pulling support and resistance levels just so I can keep track of the Fibonacci's that I pulled. Okay? By the way, there's even smaller moves, because this every one of these moves that I've labeled here, there are even smaller moves within this that I could have projected at one point or other, depending upon the highs and lows that were made. Let me just give you one more example here. I could have gone from C to CC here. I'm going to put CC right there. Okay? And I could have pulled a Fibonacci at the time from C to CC. That wasn't much of a move, but it was the most recent, right? Like I said, pull all these moves, because you'll get better at doing this the more often you do. Okay, so from C to CC, take a look. 1.272, that D was basically an extension level, wasn't it? So there's a number of different lows that you could use. You know, this is where the subjectivity pops in, because people say, well, why wouldn't you use this low or why wouldn't you use that low? Certainly, I think most traders, when they're using Fibonacci, don't utilize this idea of the last major move. Part of what I'm trying to tell you is